Day 97. 1 Samuel 7-9. Then the men of Kiriath-jearim came for the ark of the Lord and took it into Abinadab's house on the hill. And they consecrated his son Eleazar to guard the ark of the Lord. And from that day a long time passed, 20 years in all, as the ark remained at Kiriath-jearim. And all the house of Israel mourned and sought after the Lord. Then Samuel said to all the house of Israel, If you are returning to the Lord with all your hearts, then rid yourselves of the foreign gods and Ashtoreths among you, prepare your hearts for the Lord, and serve him only. And he will deliver you from the hand of the Philistines. So the Israelites put away the Baals and Ashtoreths and served only the Lord. Then Samuel said, Gather all Israel to Mizpah, and I will pray to the Lord on your behalf. When they had gathered at Mizpah, they drew water and poured it out before the Lord. On that day they fasted, and there they confessed, We have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the Israelites at Mizpah. When the Philistines heard that the Israelites had gathered at Mizpah, their rulers marched up toward Israel. And when the Israelites learned of this, they feared the Philistines and said to Samuel, Do not stop crying out to the Lord our God for us, that he may save us from the hand of the Philistines. Then Samuel took a suckling lamb and offered it as a whole burnt offering to the Lord. He cried out to the Lord on behalf of Israel, and the Lord answered him. As the Philistines drew near to fight against Israel, Samuel was sacrificing the burnt offering. But that day the Lord thundered loudly against the Philistines and threw them into such confusion that they fled before Israel. Then the men of Israel charged out of Mizpah and pursued the Philistines, striking them down all the way to an area below Beth-car. Afterward, Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shen. He named it Ebenezer, saying, Thus far the Lord has helped us. So the Philistines were subdued, and they stopped invading the territory of Israel. And the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. The cities from Ekron to Gath, which the Philistines had taken, were restored to Israel, who also delivered the surrounding territory from the hand of the Philistines. And there was peace between the Israelites and the Amorites. So Samuel judged Israel all the days of his life. Every year he would go on a circuit from Bethel to Gilgal to Mizpah, judging Israel in all these places. Then he would return to Ramah because his home was there, and there he judged Israel and built an altar to the Lord. When Samuel grew old, he appointed his sons as judges over Israel. The name of his firstborn son was Joel, and the name of his second was Abijah. They were judges in Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways, they turned aside toward dishonest gain, accepting bribes and perverting justice. So all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah. Look, they said, You are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint a king to judge us like all the other nations. But when they said, Give us a king to judge us, their demand was displeasing in the sight of Samuel, so he prayed to the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, Listen to the voice of the people in all that they say to you. For it is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king. Just as they have done from the day I brought them up out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are doing to you. Now listen to them, but you must solemnly warn them and show them the manner of the king who will reign over them. So Samuel spoke all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, This will be the manner of the king who will reign over you, he will take your sons and appoint them to his own chariots and horses, to run in front of his chariots. He will appoint some for himself as commanders of thousands and of fifties, and others to plow his ground, to reap his harvest, to make his weapons of war, and to equip his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be perfumers, cooks, and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves and give them to his servants. He will take a tenth of your grain and grape harvest and give it to his officials and servants. And he will take your menservants and maidservants and your best cattle and donkeys and put them to his own use. He will take a tenth of your flocks, and you yourselves will become his slaves. When that day comes, you will beg for relief from the king you have chosen, but the Lord will not answer you on that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to listen to Samuel. No. They said, We must have a king over us. Then we will be like all the other nations, with a king to judge us, to go out before us, and to fight our battles. Samuel listened to all the words of the people and repeated them in the hearing of the Lord. Listen to their voice, the Lord said to Samuel. Appoint a king for them. Then Samuel told the men of Israel, Everyone must go back to his city. Now there was a Benjamite, a powerful man, whose name was Kish son of Abil, the son of Zerah, the son of Bechorath, the son of Aphiah of Benjamin. And he had a son named Saul, choice and handsome, without equal among the Israelites, a head taller than any of the people. One day the donkeys of Saul's father Kish wandered off, and Kish said to his son Saul, "Take one of the servants and go look for the donkeys." So Saul passed through the hill country of Ephraim and then through the land of Shalisha, but did not find the donkeys. He and the servant went through the region of Shalem, but they were not there. Then they went through the land of Benjamin, and still they did not find them. When they reached the land of Zuph, Saul said to his servant, "Come, let us go back, or my father will stop worrying about the donkeys and start worrying about us." "Look," said the servant, "in this city there is a man of God who is highly respected, everything he says surely comes to pass. Let us go there now. Perhaps he will tell us which way to go." "If we do go," Saul replied, "what can we give the man? For the bread in our packs is gone, and there is no gift to take to the man of God. What do we have?" The servant answered him again. "Look," he said, "I have here in my hand a quarter shekel of silver. I will give it to the man of God, and he will tell us our way." Formerly in Israel, a man on his way to inquire of God would say, "Come, let us go to the seer." For the prophet of today was formerly called the seer. "Good," said Saul to his servant. "Come, let us go." So they set out for the city where the man of God was. And as they were climbing the hill to the city, they met some young women coming out to draw water and asked, "Is the seer here?" "Yes, he is ahead of you," they answered. "Hurry now, for today he has come to the city because the people have a sacrifice on the high place. As soon as you enter the city, you will find him before he goes up to the high place to eat. The people will not eat until he comes, because he must bless the sacrifice. After that, the guests will eat. Go up at once, you will find him." So Saul and his servant went up toward the city, and as they were entering it, there was Samuel coming toward them on his way up to the high place. Now on the day before Saul's arrival, the Lord had revealed to Samuel, "At this time tomorrow I will send you a man from the land of Benjamin, and you are to anoint him leader over my people Israel, he will save them from the hand of the Philistines. For I have looked upon my people, because their cry has come to me." When Samuel saw Saul, the Lord told him, "Here is the man of whom I spoke, he shall rule over my people." Saul approached Samuel in the gateway and asked, "Would you please tell me where the seer's house is?" "I am the seer," Samuel replied. "Go up before me to the high place, for you shall eat with me today. And when I send you off in the morning, I will tell you all that is in your heart. As for the donkeys you lost 3 days ago, do not worry about them, for they have been found. And upon whom is all the desire of Israel, if not upon you and all your father's house?" Saul replied, "Am I not a Benjamite from the smallest tribe of Israel, and is not my clan the least of all the clans of Benjamin? So why would you say such a thing to me?" Then Samuel took Saul and his servant, brought them into the hall, and seated them in the place of honor among those who were invited, about 30 in all. And Samuel said to the cook, "Bring the portion I gave you and told you to set aside." So the cook picked up the leg and what was attached to it and set it before Saul. Then Samuel said, "Here is what was kept back. It was set apart for you. Eat, for it has been kept for you for this occasion, from the time I said, I have invited the people." So Saul dined with Samuel that day. And after they had come down from the high place into the city, Samuel spoke with Saul on the roof of his house. They got up early in the morning, and just before dawn Samuel called to Saul on the roof, "Get ready, and I will send you on your way." So Saul arose, and both he and Samuel went outside together. As they were going down to the edge of the city, Samuel said to Saul, "Tell the servant to go on ahead of us, but you stay for a while, and I will reveal to you the word of God." So the servant went on. Luke 9 verses 18 to 36. One day as Jesus was praying in private and the disciples were with him, he questioned them, "Who do the crowd say I am?" They replied, "Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others, that a prophet of old has arisen. But what about you?" Jesus asked, "Who do you say I am?" Peter answered, "The Christ of God." Jesus strictly warned them not to tell this to anyone. "The Son of Man must suffer many things," he said. "He must be rejected by the elders, chief priests, and scribes, and he must be killed and on the third day be raised to life." Then Jesus said to all of them, "If anyone wants to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world, yet lose or forfeit his very self? If anyone is ashamed of me and my words, the Son of Man will be ashamed of him when he comes in his glory and in the glory of the Father and of the holy angels. But I tell you truthfully, some who are standing here will not taste death before they see the kingdom of God." About 8 days after Jesus had said these things, he took with him Peter, John, and James, and went up on a mountain to pray. And as he was praying, the appearance of his face changed, and his clothes became radiantly white. Suddenly 2 men, Moses and Elijah, began talking with Jesus. They appeared in glory and spoke about his departure, which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem. Meanwhile Peter and his companions were overcome by sleep, but when they awoke, they saw Jesus' glory and the 2 men standing with him. As Moses and Elijah were leaving, Peter said to Jesus, "Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what he was saying. While Peter was speaking, a cloud appeared and enveloped them, and they were afraid as they entered the cloud. And a voice came from the cloud, saying, "This is my Son, whom I have chosen. Listen to him." After the voice had spoken, only Jesus was present with them. The disciples kept this to themselves, and in those days they did not tell anyone what they had seen.